Well, Hulk Hogan's dead, but that's not going to stop Bret Hart from reburying him or burying him a second time. Bret Hart was on a podcast recently, Masked Men Show, whatever that is. And he said, you cannot deny what Hulk Hogan did. His footprint in the wrestling business always be huge, maybe as big as it ever could get. When Hulk Hogan left WWF in 1992 and wasn't at SummerSlam 1992, it was WrestleMania 8 when I fought Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper was one of the guys that reached down and pulled me up to his level. I want to wrestle Bret Hart because I want to make him, Roddy Piper said. There were a lot of wrestlers who didn't do that. Hulk Hogan never did that for anybody, never pulled anyone else up. Jake Roberts never did anything for anybody else. He only did it for Jake Roberts. Jesus, I guess Roberts is getting buried too. Roberts getting hit with shrapnel. He only did it for Jake Roberts. I look at Jake Roberts and Hulk Hogan. That's just two guys. I always thought that the day that I won the belt, Hulk Hogan would come and pat me on the back and tell me how glad he was to be the guy that picked me to pull the sword out of the stone for him. Unfortunately, that's not how it was. The second I won the belt, I was the enemy. I had what he wanted, and we were never really friends again after that. Now, like, listen, people start talking about Hogan because he just died, and so, this is going to come up, and so, I don't necessarily think Bret, like, is going out of his way always to just say bad things. He did start the thing with positivity towards Hogan, that he was the biggest ever, He's just giving his account of everything. But, I mean, it really does. I can't tell if Bret Hart is really just this crazy hater, and he's just constantly getting, crapping on people, or if it's like just that the wrestling news is always grabbing the excerpts from Bret Hart stuff that's negative. But recently, there's been a Bret Hart controversy where he was upset about where he was sitting at SummerSlam. And basically the whole thing is that, WWE has it in for him, that, they planned on sabotaging him, at SummerSlam. And that's what I'm talking about, and, it's just that other people have come on and they're like, well, I also had that same trouble at SummerSlam. They were also forgotten. I was also invited there and basically felt crapped on. So it wasn't just Bret Hart, it was everybody. But, Bret's like, well, it's a damn conspiracy against me. But, I mean, when you start adding stuff up, like he was invited to the Hall of Fame, and you could really see it from both sides, right? Like, he got invited to the Hall of Fame that night. He was told, you got 2 minutes, that's it, get the hell off the stage. And Bret kind of complained about it on the stage, and then he gave Triple H kind of like an FU face when Triple H came to give him a handshake. But then Triple H went on to deliver like a 1.5 hour, maybe record-breaking retirement speech, Oh, there's my alert that my drugs are here. So I can see Bret Hart's side of things. I get it. He's like paranoid. They hate him. And, he's looking at everything as like a conspiracy against him. But, part of the reason why Bret Hart is looking like it thinks that they're out to get him is because the guy is everywhere bashing Triple H all the time. I mean, he's always crapping on Triple H everywhere, burying Triple H. I mean, constantly. They'll be like 2 days before WrestleMania or something. And for all we know, Triple H reached out to Bret and was like, yeah, we want you to come up and you got a seat and everything. And the next day, Bret Hart will be on a podcast and be like, what did, Triple H wasn't even a good wrestler. Name a good match. Can you, it's just, so like, I think Bret Hart is paranoid because he knows all the things he's said about Triple H. And I think that Bret Hart mostly thinks that Bret Hart is, that Triple H is still Triple H from 1997. The Triple H hasn't grown whatsoever. that Triple H has a vendetta mostly, and he's going to stick it to him. Like, if I can get Bret to fly all the way out here and then I can forget about him in the 17th row and he doesn't get paid anything. Like, I don't know. I'm just going with maybe that's why. I still can't believe Bret just shit on Jake Roberts out of nowhere. But, so maybe it's like a little bit of a guilty conscience. I mean, if you're Triple H, you kind of, I think Triple H a lot of times puts all that aside. I don't know anything to be true. What do I know, right? I have no idea. But I feel like Triple H puts things aside a lot of times and goes, yeah, the guy don't like me really. And honestly, like, I'm not too happy with him, but he's Bret Hart and this is the wrestling world and they want to see him and he deserves to be here. And I don't know. I get this feeling that the Triple H puts a lot of stuff, aside and says, well, it's the right thing to do. I'm going to do it. Even if I hate the person, even if they hate me, even if I'm going to make jokes about them maybe to people when they're here, I'm still going to invite them because it's really the right thing to do. And it's more than it's more. This business is about more than me and my ego. So I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure. I don't know how much. I know Triple H, everybody has an ego. All the wrestlers have an ego. But I feel like Triple H at least does a pretty decent job of putting some ego aside. But maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe they are, trolling Bret Hart all the time and making fun of him. And part of that could be because Bret Hart buries Triple H. I mean, he goes everywhere crapping on Triple H. And Triple H is the guy in charge of much of this stuff now. And, but like, I feel like a really blinded person with a vendetta, Triple H would just ban him then and would never, he'd be like, I hope no one remembers the name Bret Hart by the time I'm done here, But that's not what Triple H does. I don't think they treat Bret Hart like the best. I think they could treat him a little bit better as a legend. I really do. But I also think that they've done treated Bret pretty well a lot of times. And it feels like Bret just don't care. He's like, nope, I'm going to find something wrong with everything. Like there was no need to have an award for Stone Cold and Bret Hart at that Hall of Fame. But they decided to do it, to do something extra, to book them. I mean, 2 minutes is a little crazy to me. I don't understand that. So I can see why Bret has these conspiracy theories. But, Hogan's gone now, and Hogan and Bret Hart just like man, he will, if you've been buried, Bret Hart will rebury you. I mean that's what I get from all this. Bret Hart will rebury you. There's a conspiracy against Bret, and you just can't convince him otherwise. Bret Hart is hilariously bitter, and or he comes off seriously bitter and just miserable. At least to the wrestling world in these interviews and these excerpts. Like he may not be fully like this. Someone asked him if he knew who Io Sky was the other day, and Bret Hart did not know who Io Sky was, which I thought that was kind of funny. But that's about it, man. Well, listen, Charles Robinson got injured, and he's hospitalized right now. I talk about that in this next video popping up on your screen right now. Charles Robinson hospitalized. We talk about that on the video popping up now. Click on it. Keep watching. I'm Joe Cronin. This is the Joe Cronin Show. Subscribe to the channel. And also, there's some other stuff popping up on the right. And if you want to support my channel, go to that on the bottom right. That will take you to the donation page. Whether you want to support me, you want me to promote a product, your job, your world, your T-shirts, whatever it is, use that. Let me know what you want to promote and support us directly if you can, man. I need your guys' help. Or leave a super thanks down below or become a member. I'll see you guys in the next video.